You are listening to Thrival Nutrition Podcast, Episode 9.
Thanks for tuning in to the Thrival Nutrition Podcast with Lahana Vigliano, where she teaches you how to take back your health with real food. Lahana is a holistic nutritionist that holds a degree in nutrition science, and she studies sports nutrition through the International Society of Sports Nutrition. Lahana founded Thrival Nutrition to share her expertise through podcasts, webinars, group plans, ebooks, one-on-one coaching, and more. Here is your host, Lahana Vigliano.
Hi guys, thank you for tuning into the Thrival Nutrition Podcast. This is episode 9. I cannot believe I've been podcasting for 9 weeks. It has been so much fun, and I've met some pretty amazing people that really shows the content and how important it is to take back our health. I love it. I love it. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. It really shows how much you want to change your health, how much you want to learn about this and having that knowledge. And that you guys should give yourself a pat on the back. That's awesome. So today we have Carina, and she is going to be talking about stress, the link of stress and nature, why being in nature is important, how to be in nature, like meditating. And I just love her calming, how she talks. It's just so calming. You will love it. I really love this talk, and it's short and sweet. So enjoy. Hi, Carina. Thank you so much for coming on this week to the Thrival Nutrition Podcast.
Hi. It's nice to be here.
Let our listeners know who you are and what you do.
Right. So I'm Carina Lyall. I'm Canadian but living in Denmark. And for the past 7 years now, I've worked as a meditation teacher and studied MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and worked strictly with that for a few years. But now I've spent my quote-unquote spare time, I don't know if you have that because I also have 3 children, engaging more and more in women's health and using nature as the element, but still in the same, presence work. So it's had like an organic move. So from meditation now more into women's groups and community and health, to put it just like that.
That's pretty awesome. I know that we need that so much because we're at such a disconnect in our society right now. So I know that I remember just reading that no matter what you eat, you can eat as healthy as you can. But if your stress levels are chronically high all the time, it can negate a lot of what we eat, a lot of the positive things that we're doing in our body. So I always say, like, stress is literally a killer. What are your thoughts on stress? How would you define stress?
Well, first off, I'll go for me, that has been true. I mean, I do eat really healthy, and in times of stress, for example, I've held on to all the weight. It's been hard to see, that I've been eating on anything but French fries, stuff like that. So that definitely does resonate with me. I think there's the stress of, being a modern person, and then there's the stress where you're really, really ill, or that goes there. But if we take like the everyday stress, for me, the definition would be demands that don't meet our resources, or perceived demands that don't meet our perceived resources. It's a short definition, but as a mother, for me, I may think that I have to do all of this stuff, and my time is limited, my energy is limited. Right now with, 2 older kids and a baby, I haven't slept right for, 4 years. My resource tank is not as filled to accomplish everything I want to do, and that can set a stress reaction in my body. So that would be sort of a light version definition for me of stress, but I think it goes well with a lot of things in life. If we feel we have to do much more than feel we have, then we feel we're not meeting the demands, and that causes a stress reaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because as a mom, I've been there, done that, from the newborn stage to when they're sick, and then when they're teething. I mean, there's so many things that happen, especially in parenting, that can stress you out.
Yeah. And in life in general, but it's a good example because I think every parent can relate in some way or the other, right?
Yeah, of course. But yes, stress in a job, stress in, some people stress about healthy eating.
Oh yeah. Spirituality. I mean, we can get into that in every, just with meditating, I've had a lot of clients who say, well, I came here feeling stressed, and now I'm stressing over the fact that I'm not, less stressed, and I'm not meditating enough, and I'm not present enough, and I'm not doing enough to be less stressed. And we use the word stress a lot because we feel we're never really there, I think. And that, we're never really there. And then some people label it as perfectionism or not enoughness, or I don't know. I'm not, I haven't studied all of that enough but I've studied stress, or I've studied the amazingness of what happens when you have moments where you can just let it be and become present. And that for me is pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely sound like a calm person. You definitely I can feel it. Like you're just, I don't know, you don't sound stressed to me.
I will not get my partner on the phone. Well, I think I am, I think it hits me, and I definitely have days and moments each day where I'm like, oh my God. But I also have, after years of practice, I think it doesn't get a hold of me as much.
Absolutely. So what are some things someone can do if they are chronically stressed all the time? What are some great ways to release the stress?
Well, if we continue with the non-sick, people who are very severely stressed, if we leave them out of it, but these sort of everyday stuff, I think one thing that can be very take meditation. It's become huge with the amount of research that's been happening the last decade or so. It can seem very, very huge and hard, but I think when we think about it, sometimes it's hard to be distracted all the time. So if we sort of flip it, it's not hard to be present. It's really energy consuming to be detached all the time from where we are. And it doesn't take much. If we just say, okay, well, stop now, feel your feet, feel your breath, you're there, right? Little things like that, little shifts, little stop every day, stop, take a breath, observe, proceed. That's a really good one. I love that little thing. You can stick it on your computer, your fridge.
That's so true. I love that because you are right. We are not present enough in this world, and sometimes we get a little too busy, and before we know it, our kids are 18 and they're moving out of the house. And even though these very stressful moments, especially with being a parent, and they're the hardest, but you have to embrace it at the same time.
Yeah, and it doesn't, with everything else, then we can put on ourselves that presence has to be picture perfect too. I've had shared photos on Facebook or whatever of me leaving the house, returning and finding the key in the door. I had locked the door. I just hadn't, taken the key out. And someone wrote, I thought you were a mindfulness teacher. It's like, oh, F off. Really? Are we putting that pressure on that too? But the little things, just noticing shifting scenes. I think if we get up in the morning, we get up late, for an example, we get up late, we're rushing. Then we get to the car, and then, we're waiting in the car line, traffic's horrible. We get to work, someone took the last drop of coffee, and we're just carrying all of that annoying energy feel with us for the rest of the day. And then some idiot does something at the store and you just snap, or you pick up your kids and they don't immediately obey you, and then you yell or you snap at them or whatever. But if we sort of see, okay, I woke up early, that's where I am now. And then I shifted to the car, that's where I am now. And then I shifted here. I think little things like that, like stop, and also just noticing the shifts in our day. Now I'm here. Now I'm picking up my kids, and this is where I am. So I'm not back at the morning still, where it was, annoying as hell to get up later. And I think that's also something, days just go in one big mess, and we don't really clearly or have time to recognize where we're at, and what we can actually relate to is right now. That's all we have we can relate to. And I think that's another thing. It doesn't have to only be meditating 45 minutes to an hour. It can be that also practice of just seeing, okay, this is where I am. I'm annoyed, that's in me, but I'm here now.
I like that. And I see one thing in our society is that we aren't connected or in tune with nature anymore. Our jobs aren't physical, like, in the hunter-gatherer ancestral time, when we were really in nature almost all day. And we're always sitting, we're always under the artificial lighting. What have we lost from not being outside as much? And like, why aren't we in tune with nature anymore?
A lot of things, I think, and definitely with a lot of people living in the city, it's not as present. And like some of the examples you mentioned with lighting and the internet, we can always be on. We moved, my family and I moved from downtown Copenhagen, where, it's always yellow light all night, all day. It took pretty heavy curtains to have any sense of night in our house. And then we moved out in the middle of the woods. And it is black here now. I mean, if I went outside, it would be really hard to see anything. There is no lighting whatsoever. Just that little shift also, we experienced being extremely tired. Like, it was like, wow, really tired. I mean, we couldn't do as much, and there's no reception here, so no one can call us ever. And there is just little things, like when we turned a lot of the noise off, we sensed our needs a little more, or a little clearer. And it was annoying to begin with, because like, hey, I don't want to be as tired, or I really want to be in touch with people, but I also feel maybe just go to bed or something like that. So for us, coming out to nature also helped us or supported us, I think, to getting close to our own nature and our own rhythms and our own needs in a little way. But also just, when you go outside, and I think this is true for, I don't want to put a percentage, it's not everyone, but a lot of people, half of it's a given, half of the demands they have during their day. Once you go outside, you're no longer controlling anything, you're being, in a sense. And that's what I love about what nature can offer, especially you're part of something bigger than yourself. It's not your job to take care of everything. You can't make the trees do this and that. You can enjoy, you can be a part of, and that takes a hell of a lot of pressure off of us. There's nothing here that's my job, in a sense, unless I'm a lumberjack or something like that, Yeah. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that makes total sense. We lose a lot not being outside as much, as, we're more stressed, and we lose focus from what our part is really in this world. Like you said, like when I go outside, I feel refreshed, and I just feel just so much more in tune with what I'm supposed to be doing and why I'm here on this earth. So how do you meditate in nature? What are some of the best places to meditate in nature?
I really enjoy by the water, but also because we live in the woods, like with trees. And I don't think there's a best place. I think there's wherever you feel comfortable, but there's something soothing about the sound of waves. And there's also something a little grand or supportive of being up against a tree. And you can go however crunchy granola as you want with it, or not. But just that support of those two elements I really love. And as for how to meditate, I think, we all have an image. Like when I say meditate, what comes to your mind? What image do you see?
I just think of quietness. I think of focusing on your breathing and kind of just stop thinking about everything that's going on in life and just focus on your body and what your body's doing.
Yeah, and that can be it. I mean, I think for people who have never meditated, they might think that, you have to be gorgeous in a tank top on a beach and look great. And that's how you do it, or close your eyes or whatever. But for me, sitting outside, just feeling my body supported in the ground, feeling my breath, feeling the air on my skin, the sounds, the smells, and just allow myself to, soak in that is how I use meditation in general now. Not how I was trained to begin with, but that's how I meditate outside. And I think it's amazing way to do it. And especially with breath, I had a good friend who guided a meditation. She's like, so as you breathe in, imagining the wind coming in, and then your out breath mixing with the wind again. I love that little image of how you sit there. with the breath and, in wind, out wind kind of thing. So I think for me, it would just be an encouragement to anyone to just sit and, what season is it? How does it look? What do you notice? What if you're looking, or what do you smell? How does it feel? Just using the senses as a way in.
Cool. And I mean, I've heard people can meditate in nature just no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing. They can always just take a breath.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens when we do become in tune with nature?
For me, it calmed down a lot of the everyday stress for me. And I can only talk about my own experience, I think, or what clients have told me. But it gives a lot. Like I've been in silent retreats or stuffed in meditation halls with a lot of people, and we're lining up and we're, very close to each other and always sort of trying to interact in different ways and it just becomes too much at some point for me anyway. And as soon as I get outside, there's a lot more space. There's space for me. There's space for them. I think maybe that's the word, space. That's what it gives in a lot of ways. Ways to leave a lot of the roles we have behind and just, again, because it's bigger than us. We belong as a part of it and not the full story. And that takes a lot of the pressure off.
I like that. So if you had to give our listeners one thing that they can do today to make a positive change in their life, what would it be?
Just one?
Just one.
Yeah, it would be in the morning when you walk outside the door, or if you do that later on, whenever, just for a moment, notice that wherever you are, whether you're in the city or not, there's nature around you. There's things to be seen, and just spend that time with that little shift, feeling the ground, feeling the earth, maybe the wind, and just stopping. So use that stop, take a breath, observe, proceed, and just notice the nature around you in that, no matter where you are, because it's there. So as a little reminder, walk out the door, take a breath, notice where you are. I think that will change a lot.
I love it. And you say that with such calmness. I really like that.
Yeah, well, I love that practice. It's so simple.
And I really like one thing me and my husband try to do every day is before we even take a step out of bed, we take 5 things that we are really grateful for, and that we are really happy, and really start your day off with such a good mentality. And I mean, that can set the rest of your day and determine if it's good or bad in your mind. Yeah.
I've never been able to do that because my mornings start with mom. Mom.
That's why I said we try to. Because I'm totally there. Like, I didn't do that this morning because I was laying right next to my daughter. She co-sleeps with us, and she's like, Mom? And I'm like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm right here. I don't think she saw me. I think she thought I left. And so obviously I was just like, what do you want? What do we need to do? And total zombie mode. I didn't really get to do that.
That's nice though.
Again, those moments that can be hard. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Where can our listeners find you? Do you have a website, any social media accounts, if they're interested in learning about meditating and really putting it as a part of their life?
Right. So on my website, carinalyall.com, I have a free offer called A Space for Breaks, where they can find, I have a few ebooks on it, free meditations, and a couple of interviews with really awesome women. And so that's, free for them. If they sign up, they can get access to that. I'm mostly on Instagram, a little on Facebook, but that's because the Instagram goes to Facebook. So you can find me on Instagram /Carina Lyall. And I love that because I share from our land and what we do as a family and practice and all that. So I use that as a way to show what it looks like in real life, what we talked about. And I'm on Facebook as Carina Lyall too. So please come say hi. And I think I'm mostly there. I've dialed down a lot. So that's where you can find me.
Awesome. I'll link those in the show notes too, so people can have easy access to it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It went by so fast. So it was really fun.
I know. It always seems like it's going to take a while, but then like after you get to talking, it just goes by so fast.
It does. Great. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed a little of what I had to say anyway.
Yes, I think I may go meditate now, actually. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was so much fun talking to her. And like I said, she's so calm and I love it. It really gets you in the mood to meditate and take care of your body and really stay in tune with nature. So I encourage you to get out there today. Get some vitamin D in the sun. Just sit down in the grass or in a chair. Just listen to yourself breathe and listen to the beautiful nature, the birds, the leaves rustling, everything about it. And you will see how relaxed and amazing you feel. If you are not following us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, go over to the social media sites and like us and follow us. We are under Thrival Nutrition, and Twitter we are under @Thrival_Orlando. And if you are not on our website, on our newsletter list, we love sending you newsletters each week with content full of amazing things to change your life and to encourage you. So you can find us at www.thrivalnutrition.com, and you can download a free ebook, How to Shop Healthy on a Budget, and the top 10 superfoods to add to your diet. So go get them now. If you haven't already, please leave us a rating and review on our iTunes account. We love and appreciate you, and we love hearing your feedback. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week.